The guy at number 19, we're talking about right now, but a decade ago at the World Juniors, we knew he was going to be special. He became Canada's all-time leading scorer among blue liners. Boy, has the promise been fulfilled.
It certainly has, and the Nashville Predators organization has manufactured stud defensemen for so many years, and at times you can get lost in the shuffle with all the good defensemen they've had come and go throughout the organization. But Ryan Ellis has been that steady presence both ends of the rink, and especially if you're a guy his size, he's not the biggest of stature, you have to have a high compete level, and he has an extremely high compete level. That's what impressed me. Yeah, he can skate, he can shoot the puck, he defends well, but you saw him there physically take the man. He does not lose many battles for the puck, and you'd think he would with his size.
Sure.
But he's a guy that continues to be a steady force for the Nashville Predators. Was having his best season, 38 points in 49 games of his career. He was injured, and then the work stoppage we know because of the pandemic. But he was having a terrific year. He's over plus 100 throughout his career. Just a steady force on the back end for the Nashville Predators. I love little guys that just excel in the National Hockey League, and he excels in all three zones of the ice.
That's Paul Bunyan right there. So all he's done is score 15 or more goals, 10 or more seasons. There have been 5 other defensemen to do that. They're all in the Hall of Fame. This guy will end up in the Hall of Fame, and you feel he's gotten back to his elite form.
He certainly has. I mean, back 5 years ago or so when he was with the Nashville Predators, he was the defenseman I would covet most in the National Hockey League because of the presence and everything he brought to the table in his own zone, the physicality, and the deadly weapon of the hardest shot in the National Hockey League. He had dipped a little bit, a lot because of injuries, a lot because of the transition of the speed game in the National Hockey League year by year. So I thought Shea Weber wasn't quite the force he had been for so many years, and injuries was a big part of that. But he got it back, especially last year, in spades with the Montreal Canadiens, and that is trouble for the National Hockey League. He looks like the Shea Weber of old, and we keep seeing those big thunderous hits. But what I'm impressed with him, not only does he shoot the puck over 100 miles an hour, it's hard to get shots through. I don't take that for granted.
True.
We can't take that for granted. Teams are so good at defending and protecting the house. He times it. He gets his shot through. And the active player, out of all active defensemen, has the most goals in the National Hockey League right now. So Shea Weber is back in form. He's big. He's snarly. He's a guy, a force to be reckoned with on a nightly basis. Boy, he was good in the playoffs and good all season long for the Montreal Canadiens.
When Dano praises the physicality of a blue liner,
it's still important.
It's
still an important element. I know the game, again, has evolved, but you got a guy like Shea Weber in front of your net. Believe me, it makes it awfully difficult on opponents, and players just don't want to stand there quite as long in front of the goaltender.
No doubt about it. Shea Theodore sandwiched by Norris winners, and let's talk about him at number 14. When Vegas came into the league, people said, this is going to give guys an opportunity. Well, he's made the most of it. Career year, he had career highs in points, assists, goals. What do you like most about his game?
Skating. As smooth a skater as there is from the back end in the National Hockey League, and if the progression continues, he kind of had his coming out party this season and going into the playoffs. He had a terrific playoffs as well. He's going to be in the top 10 sooner than later. But he finally figured out and understands. We talk about defensemen taking 200 to 300 games to really understand how to play the position and picking your spots. We knew he had all the ability, the skating, the shot, but it's about reading plays on the ice and when to jump in, when not to. Well, his zone exits and zone entries, top 5 in the National Hockey League, pucks on his stick a lot because of that beautiful skating ability. But all of a sudden, he just positioned himself so much better. He does everything right now at a high level, can make terrific plays and cut on a dime and get a great offensive chance and score a goal there. He does a lot of good things. Well, I'd like him to see him find some chiclets, because I emphasize with him, because I had a lot of missing teeth in my day. It's not a good look. But I guess that's a hockey player, baby. I had to throw that in. He's been outstanding, and boy, what a season he had, and what a playoffs Shea Theodore had. I remember talking to Scott Niedermayer when he was consulting with the Anaheim Ducks and saying, he just needs to figure it out all here, put it all together here, because he has all the tools, and with that skating ability and shot, he should be an elite defenseman in the league. It just didn't kind of materialize quite in Anaheim as quick as maybe they had wanted to. Well, Vegas Golden Knights are reaping the rewards because, boy, he's one of the top defensemen in the game right now.
16 points in 17 playoff games. The leading rookie scorer among D-men ever. And ever is a mighty long time, Ken Danico. This guy, his frame, when you see him in person, you think he doesn't look like a guy that would be able to be so impactful. But don't be deceived. He is such a weapon.
Quinn Hughes is a gamer, and the Vancouver Canucks are certainly glad to have him because the impact you just mentioned he's had with that team in such a short time is nothing short of remarkable. He's a forward's dream. I watch his passing ability. It's as good as any defenseman in the National Hockey League. You put your stick on the ice, give him a target in tight seams, he puts it on your tape. Doesn't matter if it's a long pass, short pass, on the power play. It's always in the wheelhouse where you're set and ready to shoot that puck. The skating ability is the common denominator. We're talking about a lot of these defensemen that are having success in the National Hockey League, young or been around for some time, is because they all can skate beautifully. He's a guy that does that extremely well, but I love his passing ability. And for his size, he shoots the puck pretty darn hard. He gets everything behind his shot.
If you're mentioned in the same breath as Brian Leach and Bobby Orr, are you serious? That's incredible. And his brother went first overall. Quinn had to wait a little bit.
They have another brother, by the way, coming into this draft, I believe.
What a
that's
pipeline.
Supposed to be a high draft pick as well. So now he's a special player to watch, and you really notice guys, can they elevate their game come playoff time? And the St. Louis Blues in particular played him very hard, and we know because of his size, he's not an overly big player on the back end, but boy, he battled through everything, and he was a force throughout the playoffs for the Vancouver Canucks. He's so fun to watch.
So much.
I mean, just that always moving, that skating ability, the escapability in his own zone, but passing. Passing's so important. I always had a coach tell me, first pass has to be tape to tape. Difference of you being 30 seconds in your own zone if it's in the skates or behind a player or your teammate or whatever it may be. 30 seconds more in your own zone where you can't get up on the offense where the game has gone now. But Quinn Hughes always seems to make that first pass, and it's exceptional. And it doesn't matter where you are in between two players. It's always tape to tape.
There's nothing better than hearing Ryan Whitney say, Chucky Bright Lights. It's so Situate Mass. Let's zero in on Miro Heiskanen because the playoffs were his personal playground for excellence. Unreal how this guy performed. He was in the mid-20s in production points-wise, and a huge reason the Dallas Stars went deep.
He has a Norris Trophy in his future. There is no question in my mind that Miro Heiskanen will win it one year. And he just continues to get better and better. He adjusts to however his team is playing. During the regular season, they were more of a shutdown, tight defensive team, didn't score as much. Thus, he only had 35 points. Well, he had 25-plus in the playoffs, did he not? Because Dallas started to play a little more up-tempo, a little more offense. Smooth a skater, as you're going to see. We talk a lot about young defensemen and their skating ability. Nobody's smoother than Miro Heiskanen. He's like silk on the ice, sees the ice so well. Under pressure, he's so calm, cool, collected. Nothing makes him panic whatsoever. I love this kid. I glow every time we bring up Heiskanen. He's only just turned 21 years old. The future is, oh my goodness, this kid's going to be so good for so many years with the Dallas Stars. And yes, I'm going to make a guarantee he wins a Norris Trophy. I think a lot of people might say that in the media as well. He is that good, does everything on the ice so well.
His future is so bright. What many people don't know was how bright a star Dano was. Back in the day, you liked to dance. What about teaching me how to Dougie? Let's jump back into the countdown. Oh, teach me how to Dougie. What about the fact, Dano, that over the last 3 seasons, no blue liner in the National League has more goals than this guy? Dougie Hamilton, 49. Consistent and really remarkable the year he was having until he got hurt.
Plus 30 as well. In 47 games played, 40 points. Dougie Hamilton has figured it all out. I mean, I guess if you look back throughout his career and playing in Boston as a youngster and then in Calgary was the consistency on a nightly basis. Can he play good in his own zone? Can he? We know he can bring the offense. We know he had all the tools, but Dougie Hamilton has figured it all out in Carolina and has become a stud, a force on the back end. It was really too bad that he got injured. He might have been in the Norris Trophy conversation. He was having that good of a season. He's got as hard a shot from the back end as any defenseman in the league. He has pinpoint accuracy as well. But I just like how he's just focused on his game in his own zone as well, using his size, using his reach, playing with more compete, playing with more aggressiveness around his net. He improved in a lot of areas, and just coming every night to be that type of defenseman the Carolina Hurricanes need in both ends. And he's become one of the top defensemen in the league, thus being in the top 20 in the National Hockey League in our rankings. The Norris Trophy, obviously such an incredible honor. He was on that board you just saw, surrounded by Norris Trophy winners.
He's got the reach, and he is powerful, but boy, can he fly. Jones rocks it and scores!
He's a difference maker, Seth Jones.
I'd like to see someone who defends as hard as Seth Jones in this league.
Jones with a great recovery to knock it away.
That's the combination of size, strength, and a really good stick by Seth Jones.
And intelligent player when it comes to reading how the play's unfolding in front of him. Jones to the front of the net and scores! What a great effort by Seth Jones! Just said, I'll take it from here, and it comes down the left side as a right-handed shot. That's a great individual effort by Seth. Jones got all the way in and tucked it underneath the crossbar and in. What an artistic goal by Seth Jones. This is the return of Seth Jones, the leader for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Jones with a shot and scores!
So Seth Jones is 2 minutes away from the most ice time ever recorded since the NHL began keeping the stat in 1997.
65.06, a new NHL record.
It's a will. That's why he's a great player.
Oh, that Seth Jones guy is special. Let me tell you how cool it is to work here. We've got the best snacks in this building. 4 different types of beef jerky, and I'm a beef jerky connoisseur. But Dano, the one thing you can count on in addition to beef jerky is that every day somewhere in this building, someone says Seth Jones is going to win the Norris Trophy. Why is everyone so certain?
I would think that could be in his future, no doubt about it. He's Victor Hedman 2.0 to me.
Wow.
I mean, just below as far as he continues to get better. He's 6'4", so has that big frame like Victor Hedman. He uses his body well. He's physical. I think his offensive ability will continue to grow over the next few seasons. But again, powerful skater, long stride, joins the attack, uses his stick so well around his net. He defends very well. If you watch him around his net, we talk about him being 6'4", but you have to use your body smartly. He does that. He just makes it really difficult on offensive players in the zone to get any real good scoring opportunities against him. He's always uses that big frame. He's in lanes, but just his skating ability, his shot, sees the ice well, a guy that joins the attack with consistency. He's only getting better as well. And that pairing of Werenski and Seth Jones, to me, might be the best in the National Hockey League. I love Seth Jones. He's only going to get better.
You knew John Carlson was destined for greatness. The old adage is defense wins championships.
He's a remarkable player. Great instincts. I love this kid's ability to activate up ice.
Tip, score! John Carlson tips it in past Morozek.
He's got all the tools, though. I mean, he's big, he's strong. He plays the defensive part of the game because he can box out well. He's strong enough down low.
Here's Carlson to shove, he scores! Carlson run, he scores!
He hit the 400-point club, and he deserves the salute he is getting for that accomplishment.
Carlson is straight away. Demetsky, one time, he scores! He'll get it back, he'll shoot, he scores! Overtime winner!
Carlson, one-timer from the other side, they score! Carlson going to the net, there's the pass, scores!
This is a guy that really should vie for serious Norris discussion. A well-rounded game without question.
Hey, Reggie Jackson, beat it. You're no longer Mr. October. John Carlson is 23 points in the opening month. This only Al McInnes had ever scored more points as a blue liner in the opening month with 25. He also went on to lead all defensemen in scoring for the season. What a year for Carlson. What did you like most about it?
Well, just he was consistent. You mentioned first half of the season, probably lost the Norris Trophy. Maybe the last quarter of the season where things dipped. I don't think anybody expected him to keep the pace he was at offensively, but I just like that he improved defensively as well. He was strong in his zone. He played more physical. He used his stick well, which is so important for defensemen. We continually repeat. But the offensive year was second to none. I mean, John Carlson quarterbacks the power play. He is a master back there at finding the open man or taking that big shot. and bearing it. You mentioned the October he had was just unbelievable. I would have had no problem with John Carlson for the season he had, giving him the Norris Trophy.
And he finished second.
At all, and he finished second. He had that good of a year. Like I said, it was tough to sustain that kind of season he was having, and obviously the pause hurt as well. Or maybe he does win the Norris if he had a real good push at the end. But what a terrific year for John Carlson, and boy, he was dynamic.
And oh, by the way, his team, the Caps, won its division again. They do that every single year. This is a special place, and he's a special person. What's a fit?
Roman Josi is doing everything. I think he absolutely could be a Norris Trophy winner for the first time this season.
He is one of the high-character guys.
Here comes the captain moving inside all the way. And a beautiful goal by Roman Josi.
Roman Josi with a beautiful end-to-end play.
The shot. Roman Josi into the traffic.
Always knows where to be on the ice, but he always puts himself in position to be an offensive threat.
Josi was the best defenseman on the ice by a mile. The way that he impacted the game offensively, defensively, the transition game.
Nobody can stop this guy. Give it to Josi.
He's the perfect defenseman for the modern era.
A little under the radar. Torres to Josi. Score! He sets a career high with his 16th goal. When in need, just call the captain.
He's been one of the elites for a lot of years now. A very talented overall player and thinks the game well. He's as good as it gets in the back end.
Dano, you heard me say during the Roman Josi video that he's a high-character guy. The Preds wear yellow. He has a heart of gold. The stuff he does in the community with Best Buddies, which is a group that raises awareness and dollars for kids with special needs. So much to admire about Josi. As a human, as a player, my goodness, tons to admire there, too.
I don't think we're going to get any argument having Roman Josi at number 2 as best defenseman in the National Hockey League. He's a character guy. You talked about heart of gold, and I've had opportunities to talk to him away from the rink as well. He just eats, sleeps, breathes hockey.
Yep.
He wants to be the best he can be for his teammates, and what makes him so impressive is he's hard to track, hard to defend, Tony, because he's always in motion with that beautiful, fluid skating stride. He's got a terrific shot. Another guy that always seems to get the shot through by changing his angle, a little slight movement of the puck, just enough to get it through, and where his forwards can get a tip on it in front if he's not scoring himself. And around his net, he plays with compete. He plays with high compete level as far as just doesn't quit on a play. He has an extremely active stick, which is so important in today's game for defensemen, is when your stick's active, when you're deflecting passes, breaking up plays, you become invaluable in your own zone. Roman Josi has been a stalwart for the Nashville Predators and one of the best in the National Hockey League for many years, and he's comes in at number 2 here.
There it is. It's nice to see a nice guy finish first, and Josi was first, winning the 2020 Norris Trophy. You said at the very outset of the show, there's a tendency to focus more on offensive numbers. He didn't have the gaudiest numbers, but he won the Norris. Was that the right call?
I think the season that Roman Josi had, how could you argue with him winning the Norris Trophy? Absolutely. He deserved it. But he's a guy that you notice him throughout the game in all 3 zones, pucks on his stick a lot, and he still puts up pretty good offensive numbers. But I look at the all-around play, and he's pretty darn good in his own zone. We talked about as far as his compete and his stick. He deflects so many passes, block shots, deflects pucks out into the screen area or the netting area.
Sure.
A lot of times those things don't show up on the score sheet, but he defends extremely well also.
His game has just continued to get better and better every year.
Out ahead that blocks it. Fire! Scores! Victor Hedman with another milestone, his 100th career goal. Victor Hedman powers it home.
Everybody looks at Victor Hedman as being the standard, as the best defenseman.
Oh, big hit!
She's 77 again.
We've seen a lot of great, outstanding defensemen from Sweden. Victor Hedman's the latest one.
Here is a wrist shot. Score! He is in some rare air when it comes to playoff performance for defensemen scoring goals in a National Hockey League.
Conn Smythe winner with 10 goals, 3rd all-time on a playoff run for a defenseman. Victor Hedman.
All the emotions that have been built up your entire life trying to get to this moment as a player, your family, your coaches and teammates.
Victor Hedman's the best defenseman in the world.
You heard Edzo say it, rare air. Paul Coffey, Brian Leetch, the other blue liners to score 10 or more goals in a single postseason. We saw him win the Cup, win the Conn Smythe. What impresses you the most about the number one guy on our list?
Well, first off, any general manager in the National Hockey League, if they're saying, let's make a mold of a defenseman we want, and they broke the mold with Victor Hedman. We want a guy 6'6", agile, mobile, great reach, great shot, reads the play well, physical. He has all those attributes.
Preach it, Dano.
So that's why he is the best defenseman in the National Hockey League. I mean, he always makes the right play. We talked about how good he was in the playoffs, and he rightfully so won the Conn Smythe Trophy and well-deserved championship with Tampa Bay Lightning. But I talk about him in the neutral zone a lot, where it goes unnoticed at times. You talk about defensemen, you want them to stand up. That's what your coaches preach, your defenseman coach preaches. Stand up in the neutrals or at the blue line, your own defensive blue line. He stands up in the neutral zone and turns plays right around for his forwards, and all those great forwards that Tampa Bay Lightning have are on the offense right away. He does that with reach, with mobility, with reading the play so well. There's nothing Victor Hedman can't do. Big, strong. He's a wonderful defenseman, a guy that we just don't see many of. I go way, way back to maybe Larry Robinson.
What a compliment.
One of the great Hall of Famers of all time, and a guy that coached me for many years and taught me so much about defense. He was that big, tall guy that could do it all. That's what Victor Hedman does with that 6'6" frame. Just an outstanding defenseman, and we'll probably be saying he's the best defenseman in the league for a lot of years.
Big Bird, I'll never forget coaching those 2000 Devils. When Scott Stevens won the Conn Smythe, he called him a tower of strength. You and I both know Scotty doesn't stand 6'6". How unique is it that this guy, at his size, has his mobility?
You just don't find it. I mean, anytime you're 6'6", you have a tendency to maybe not be quite as mobile, maybe not be able to change direction quite as quick as a defenseman that's 6 foot, 6'1", 5'8", whatever it may be. But Victor Hedman is 6'6", but can play like he's 5'11" at times in tight quarters. That's just unheard of, unseen. He's a guy that just understands the game so well. And it took him a few years. Let's not forget, Tony. He came in the National Hockey League second overall pick, but it took him a few years to find his game and to really grow into his body and the fluidness that he skates with now, that powerful stride he has. Boy, does he recover nicely, too, when he's pressing on the offense and maybe gets caught once in a while, which is not too often.
Sure.
But we saw him in the playoffs, remember, recover so nicely without taking a penalty because of that long reach and great skating stride and stick position. It's outstanding. You just don't find them very often. A guy 6'6" is mobile and fluent as Victor Hedman is on the ice.